Hello and a warm welcome to Personal Finance. I am Gugulethu Cele. Today joining us from our Cape Town studios is the Chief Executive of Fincheck, Michael Bowren, who is from our Cape Town studios, and that's to help us talk about the borrowing blame game, which is keeping South Africans in debt. Good to have you with us today, Michael, and thanks for making time. Let's perhaps paint a picture with regard to this borrowing blame game. I understand it's between lenders and borrowers, but what's unfolding here in the South African landscape?
Hi Gugulethu, thanks very much for having me. I think the blame game is really just around transparency of information. Blame game might be a bit of a strong phrase, but I think what we're trying to get at, or what I'd like to discuss, is just lenders being a little bit more transparent on the information that they put out on the websites and when communicating to borrowers, firstly, and then it's not only the lender's issue to kind of deal with this, but the borrower needs to ask the right questions when they're dealing with the lender. They need to ask and find out the costs involved in a loan for themselves. You know, it's not only on the lender's shoulder to put this information forward.
Walk us through that theme, because perhaps we need to start with the borrowers first. Are we finding that a lot of these financial lending institutions, regardless of their size, do provide sufficient information with regard to the terms and conditions of the borrowing criteria they have?
Yeah, so your lenders, they do put forward a fair amount of information, and generally speaking, they do a very good job with it. Your lenders that are on the internet and can be found by using online channels, they generally do a good job in this. The terms and conditions are sometimes hard to navigate. So when you're dealing with South Africa, we've got our own areas and topics that need to be addressed in this country, and I think South Africans, there's a high level of indebtedness with a low level of financial understanding. And that's something that Fincheck.co.za tries to get across, is we want to put this information out there in the most simple way possible, because as it stands at the moment, you look over different lenders, different banks, the financial verticals in South Africa are pretty complex, to say the least. And for the vast majority of South Africans, one needs to put this information out in the most simple way possible. So literally, this is the interest rate you're going to be charged, this is your initiation fee, this is your service fee, and then get the borrower to engage with the lender and ask then from there the right questions, you know. And one of those questions is just to do their own feasibility test and kind of mark out, well, this is, if I take a loan of, for example, 5,000 Rand. If I take a loan of 5,000 Rand over 3 months, this is how much I'm going to need to repay every month. And those are the kind of feasibility tests one needs to do. And that's what Fincheck.co.za is really about, is putting out this information, presenting it and saying to the borrower, look, just because you bank with a certain bank doesn't necessarily mean that they are the best person or best company to get a loan from. So South Africa, I think if one tackles that and just puts that information out there at a very simple level, and paint a black and white picture of your repayments, I think that's something that's needed.
So the information is out there, but let's go back to putting the power in the hands of the consumer. I take it it's critical that before signing any documents, the correct questions need to be asked. Talk us through, for the individual who's sitting at home and is considering taking out further loans, the key questions that they naturally need to take into account. Okay,
well, first of all, you need to decide how long you want the loan for. So you get a short-term loan which goes up to 8,000 Rand, and it's repaid. Its common name is a payday loan or short-term loan, and that is if you need the money immediately, this could be an option for you. However, the interest rates, you must take in account that the interest rates on such a loan are very high. So you need to firstly say, how much are you looking for? Then over what time period do you want the loan for? And then once you figure that out, you'll be able to navigate those kind of things. You'll be able to put in that information on Fincheck, and we'll give you a couple of companies that could offer a product. And then from there, you need to look at what specific interest rate that bank or lender charges, the initiation fee, which is the fee it costs you to set up to take the finance, and then a service fee, which is a monthly fee. I would say those are your key 3 areas that you should consider.
What about awareness with regard to some of the laws and framework that's in place, which actually favors consumers who end up borrowing cash, like treating customers fairly? Are these certain elements that we need to take into account before borrowing?
Yes, exactly, and a very, very good point. Thanks for bringing that up. There's, I think, something very critical to do, especially seeing that many South Africans are in some sort of debt, is that you want to eliminate loan sharks and Ponzi schemes. So there are a large amount of banks and lenders in South Africa who offer very good credit or very legal options, and then you get the loan sharks and the Ponzi schemes, and you need to avoid those. So that's another area that we try and tackle. So every single lender on Fincheck platform is a legal company and is registered with the NCR. And you're 100% correct. You want to move people away from loan sharks and push them in a direction where they've got a handful of options, and all of these options are correct. But when the borrower asks the lender the questions around fees and around their rights and their repayment terms, if your lender is reluctant in answering those questions, then that should be a red flag immediately, because your registered and your accredited providers will be pretty open when they answer these questions. And I just want to point out that in some instances, and for some people, it might be a good option, debt consolidation. Debt consolidation is when you consolidate. If you've got numerous debts, a company will assist you in negotiating lower prices and take over that debt. So instead of you repaying, say, for example, 3 companies per month, you'll only repay 1 company per month, but it'll cover your entire debt, and that could be an option in terms of your rights and just exposure to how best to manage your debt, because I think that's quite an important key to avoid a kind of debt spiral.
Something else that's often aligned with debt and ensuring that one manages it efficiently, Michael, is understanding how this naturally will impact on one's credit rating or credit score in the long term. How then do South African consumers need to be efficient in making sure that the kind of credit that they take out actually works to their benefit in their long term when it comes to their credit score?
So your credit score, there's numerous bureaus in South Africa that measure your credit score and give you a credit report and a credit rating. It's basically related to your repayments and how confident you are in paying back your loan. So a company, a bank, or if you want to take out a home loan, vehicle finance, or a personal loan of, say, 80,000 Rand, these companies will look at your credit score and use that as a gauge to see how probable it is for you that you will repay back your loan. So it is critical in the short term and particularly the long term, when you're going to be buying more and more assets, that you look after your credit score, and it is key to pay back your loans on time and in the correct amount. And if you foresee, for example, that this month you might not make your payment on time or to the correct amount, you need to engage with your lender. You need to engage with them and say, look, I may struggle to get my full repayment in this month, and you chat to them and work out something, because you do not want to hurt your credit report or your credit score.
Mm-hmm. Michael, we've certainly said quite a bit, but let's get a quick recap now of some of the key takeaway points from tonight's discussion. Michael, to come back to you, we've obviously highlighted quite a few important elements, but as a quick reminder to the viewers, what should they ensure that they bear in mind?
I think 3 key things: your insurance rate, your interest rate, your initiation fee, and your service fee. Make sure that you know how much you want over what time period, and you can easily compare that on fincheck.co.za.
If we do also expand on just some of these other concepts and why they're so important, talk to us about credit life. That's often a feature that comes out when one takes out debt.
Yeah, no, sure. There's your lenders and your banks do offer this. They offer this as an extra, some of them, and some of them put it in their costs. So that's something you need to clear up with your lender, your specific lender, or your specific bank. You need to just check up on that, because it might be an added cost or an additive that you want to add on there to assist you, and that's completely your decision. And I suggest that you just look into the pricing of that. And that'll be specific to the lender that you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm. Michael, thank you so much for your time this evening, as well as unfolding for us the rights and responsibilities of both borrowers and lenders this evening. A big thank you once more to the Chief Executive of Fincheck, that's Michael Bowren, for joining us this evening, explaining to us the key elements that one needs to be conscious of when it comes to taking out debt. But that's where we wrap up the show for this evening. Be sure to participate with us in conversation and share your thoughts, comments and tweets with us at CNBC Africa using the hashtag Finance410 or to myself at Gugulethu. Until next time, have a wonderful evening.